Hello, welcome to your weekly astrology update, your astro weather. And we are right in the middle of this big Capricorn lineup, Capricorn stellium, opposing Jupiter. So it's probably been an intense week. You can tell by the world, the actions, the provoc things being provocated, things being instigated, things being um, provoked, I guess the word, and all over the world in so many different ways. So what we've got right now is this big lineup in Capricorn. We can see, and in less than a month's time, in about 2 weeks' time, we're going to have all of this over into Aquarius. So we have got quite the transition right now. Um, some of the big things that we've got going on are all of those planets in Capricorn, the stellium, Sun, Mercury, Mars, Venus. And if you resonate with the what Capricorn represents, we have systems, governments, institutions, we've got hierarchies, we've got rules, things related to time, accountability, anything in the material realm. And, in the collective, and around the world, this looks like an intense focus on structure, on governments, on corporations, banks, legal systems, the infrastructure, big bureaucracies. And it's like the harsh truth, what's really being broken is economies, markets. We've got, housing and the cost of living. We've got labor and structures. We got unemployment. We've got unions. So we've got a big um, thing, a big redistribution of the balance point between, efficiency and control, push for regulations, consolidating of power, tightening the belts, where all kinds of things have been unaccountable. People have been asleep, things just been let go to just the garden has gotten out of hand. It is, it's grown over. Things are not pruned, tended to, and things are coming in now that feel really heavy, really serious, or historic. We've been at this place many times. We've talked about historically, and right now, exactly, we've got a key point with all this into the the chart of the United States, and we're repeating many themes. So other things that we have, Capricorn is also like the boardroom, the courthouse. It's where decisions are made. We've got a concentrated dose of seriousness, of responsibility, structure, pressure, time, all that fun stuff. And all of these, excuse me, all of these things are going to be um, moving into Capricorn. I mean, moving from Capricorn into Aquarius, and Pluto's already there. So we're moving from like a top-down, situation from um, hierarchical control to more decentralized things. That's more Aquarian. Anytime a planet moves from Aquarius or Capricorn into Aquarius, there's a shift from things like who's in charge to how we're all connected. And don't get me wrong, Aquarius does have an altruistic side, but it also has a militant side. So it's the where are, we all connected. It may not always be a good theme as well as a good thing. Some other things are like Capricorn are what are the rules, and then Aquarian is more what is the future. Things are more like let's obey the structure from Capricorn into rewiring the system. How can we redo this? This is obviously wrong. Things are out of control. So there's going to be a power struggle because things have gone undisciplined for way too long. So now when you start cracking the whip and putting discipline in, that's when everybody's going to go out of control. You're not going to like having to go to boot camp kind of a thing. There's going to be there already are power struggles, clashing with uprisings, protests, collective organizing, old institutions that are trying to hold on, while new technologies are moving in to disrupt a lot of things. And there's both ways. This is going to go both ways. It's going to go over the top before it finally settles down. We've got a clear public conversation about freedom, equality, and innovation. But it's going to get radical as this happens, and this is going to unfold, over this next year or two. But as we're coming right now in the winter of 26, all of this stellium in Capricorn, it's going to meet all of this stuff into Aquarius. So Aquarian themes before we move past today. And they're going to plug directly into Pluto. First thing we're going to I'm going to give you, think about two things. Think about Aquarius, which I'm going to give you first, and then it's going to run all right into Pluto, right up there because Pluto's right there at 3 degrees Aquarius. So anyway, Aquarius themes, we've got technology and the digital world. We've got things, we've got AI, we've got social media, we've got, the old networks dying, we've got social media really rising up, we've got cyber issues, we've got more digital currency things, issues, we've got reform and rebellion. There's not just plain protesting anymore. These are paid provocateurs. Not that people aren't having feelings, but this is a business now. This is a big business. Paid provocateurs. We've got the whole Soros funding and more, and I'm not going to take the time to get into political right now, but it is in place. And, these are the things that we're having to look at. So it's not just an organic uprising. These are things that are also paid for and instigated by people in power, by politics. And this is nothing new, although we have new ways of doing this, and it's still nothing new. So we can look for more of this. And I think in the next 2 weeks, as things start to piling up into Aquarius and up against Pluto, all of the planets that go in are going to have to cross Pluto. So we're going to see a bunch of shit. I think we're going to see a shit show, personally. So we're going to see a lot of also things with Aquarian themes are science and space. We've got innovation in medicine. I know it in my own field, working more with frequency medicine. The natural healing has gone beyond just using herbs and foods. It's going into a lot of different realms, and specifically frequency realm in the the business that I'm working in and working on, my own business, using frequencies into different, into massage table, into recliner chairs, dovetailed to Rife and Hulga Clark, where you have thousands of different frequencies that you can choose from. So it's a whole different realm. We're moving into this Aquarian, a different way of looking at things. So things will be more innovative in health, things, more climate tech, which may not be the best because we're doing all this geoengineering. We have all the technology to get rid of all this crap and help the world. So this is what we're going to be like, walking on this thin edge here. We've got space exploration, like we really need that, but we've got the 3i Atlas coming in, going to probably shake us up and let us all realize that there is other life out there. I feel that there's going to be some big knowing about that real soon. Hopefully it will bring the collective together. Other Aquarian themes, big conversations around, again, tech, AI, surveillance versus digital freedom. This is going to be really big. Why we can allow some people to call for horrible things online, on TikTok, and dox people and give addresses and do this, where a few years ago, anybody just whispered anything horrible or not even was banned and outlawed. So we've got a lot of these big issues coming up. We've got social political collisions. We've got shifts in the way, pretty soon everybody's going to be talking about something else, and we're going to see just big sweeping movements, a new technology, another scandal, a community cause. If Capricorn is the law, then Aquarius is the uprising and the redesign. So we've got a few things. We've got, the sun going from pretty soon next week. It's going to go from Capricorn to Aquarius. So now it's a big focus on leaderships, governments, CEOs, the top of the pyramid, national identity, status, and it moves into Aquarius, where leaders are going to be judged more for their vision, how innovative they are in their stance on freedom and rights. So increased attention on outsiders becoming insiders. Now, isn't that interesting? That is like the big thing being pushed, and a lot of money is being funneled into these types of organizations. But it's all going up. The whole scandals of things that are going on in Minnesota are this exactly. We've also got unconventional leaders, we've got tech moguls, we got activists. This is all this happening. The sun. Now, Mercury going from Capricorn into Aquarius. I'm going to go show you a little bit more in just a second, but I just want to give you these big themes. So, Mercury in Capricorn was more like serious talks, policy contracts, financial plans, government negotiations. When it moves into Aquarius, we're going to have like a spike in discourse around tech, a science or AI networks. We're going to have maybe more unusual, of course, right? Aquarian or radical ideas will gain traction. Online space grows even louder and more polarized. So we can really, this is going to be huge, I think, in the next few weeks. There's probably going to be some kind of regulations put in because of this clash, but because of this stuff is being instigated. We also have Venus moving from Capricorn to Aquarius. I don't know if this one's good or bad. I can't wait for it to get exalted into her exaltation of Pisces, but it's got to go through here first. So in Capricorn, Venus was, more concerned with money, values, trade, alliances, treaties handled in a real formal and cautious way. In Aquarius, there'll be way different way of handling things. Venus there is going to be new or experimental. Any alliances, political, economic, or social could be new or different. Something out of the box would be more enticing to people. There'll be more unconventional collaborations, more coalitions, more cross-border communities. Financial markets can react quickly to news and tech or social sentiment. I would say the financial markets are going to be way more volatile here. And then Mars going from Capricorn to Aquarius Mars going from where it's exalted to rebellion. This Aquarius, this can give this stuff energy. We could get a lot of things ignited. I think hopefully we can avoid the civil war being pushed into that ideology, but it's there. So in Aquarius, energy moves to protests, to uprisings, to cyber actions, to disruptive activism. This is where it gets militant. This is where it can get Marxist and off the wall. This is not good. So on more mundane levels, conflicts should be into other things like internet warfare, hacking and leaks, clashes over rights, freedoms, tech control, social reforms. Mars and Aquarius will fight for principles and for groups and not just authority or territory. So again, this could be good or bad, but it seems like right now it's going to add fuel to the fire. So, it's like, again, we're bridging this, this heavy corporate governmental institution kind of, rules, controls, into more, what does this mean for us? What about the public? What about the future? What about how things are, with things? How about equality versus control? How about central authority versus decentralization? Or how about human need versus technology? So we're going to see spikes in protests, viral campaigns, whistleblowing, cyber incidences, probably false flags, radical proposals about energy, economy, work, and social systems. But it's a big thing of our time. We've got all of this stuff coming up in this new time that we're in. This whole idea of, whoops, is that the right one there? I just moved my picture. Hold on. Share. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So a big movement of seeing this whole lot moving. So with that being said, you're going to just see how this is all going to unfold, and how we have this week, I think, is going to be a real crucial week. We've got, again, all of these planets, and let me go day by day, and we can see a couple of things. You know, we have all these planets right by the sun. If we just think a little astronomically at the moment, you know, right here at this time, it's like this, you can see the sun here is over on the western horizon and it's about to set. And Venus has popped out on the other side of the sun, but it's still really close to the sun. It's still all combust. But as Venus gets further away from the sun, we're going to start seeing it as an evening star. All right, I just want you to follow me with this a minute. See how it's like right here. You can imagine, you know, the sun has got a big orb, but is Venus like right here? They're 2 degrees apart. But as it gets further away, if you look in the evening after the sun sets, if it's clear night, of course, you'll start to see Venus. And the reason why is it's getting further from the sun. So the sun will go beneath the horizon. Let me just show you here so you can maybe go out and look at this, because this is cool to understand what you're seeing on the screen or in this chart to what you're seeing in the sky. So, okay, it's like right now it's 5:06 and I'm in Arequipa, Florida. And if I go ahead an hour to like 7:06, you can see the sun now will be underneath the horizon. This is the horizon line, and right here is where it's set. So maybe a half hour ago, see if I go an hour, well, even at 6:06, it's right here, and then 7:06, it goes underneath. All right, so knowing that, let me just show you minutes just so you can kind of watch this. Okay, so the sun is, oops, why I go so fast here? It's not going to be a friend of me today. Why isn't it going to do that? Anyway, the sun will go underneath and you'll still see, why isn't this showing me? In 1 minute, it's going this way. I don't know what's going on with this, but anyway, you can see it's going to go under the horizon. Let me just go back. I don't know what's going on with this, and I don't want to load it in again. But anyway, as we go round and round, you'll see slowly that Venus will separate from the sun, and you'll start to see it. Like right now, it's 2 degrees. It should maybe be when it's like 7 degrees, might start to see it. 10 degrees, probably for sure. So that will be in a good week. I'll remind you again next week. But it will start being the evening star, and then they'll get further and further from the sun, right? You can imagine that. It'll just see my cursor here. It'll just get further and further and further away to where it will then be like the morning star. So it will say be here, and then maybe the sun will be down over here. So that way it will rise above, you know, it won't be fused with the sun where you can't see it. So it will be in the morning hours. You'll see it rising up above the horizon here. Just pretend my little cursor is Venus. That's like coming up. Okay. And then maybe the sun just stays way down here. So you'll get just that dawn, the very, you know, light of the sun, well after Venus pops up over. See, if it's when the sun is down here, it's not light yet, of course. So you'll see that the star kind of coming up over here. So that's coming up soon. I just wanted to explain a little bit of that. All right, so moving on, you can see all of this stuff here is at the end degrees, right? So Venus has gone over the sun, Mercury is going to go over the sun, and they're going to start all to separate and move into Aquarius. So what we've got this coming week, let me just go, this is today. So today we've got all of it. We've got a lot of stuff here in we've got 20 Mars at 22 Capricorn, and then over here to Chiron and just past Jupiter. So this, you know, we've got things at this energy, the 22 degrees, but let's move ahead. I want to move this back so it's above the horizon for you, just easier to see. Okay. Okay, so you can see, I'm just going to click forward and want you to watch the degrees, and I'll just explain some of this. But you can see all of this stuff now. Venus here, 26, right? So it's going to be making an aspect over here to Saturn and then to Neptune. All right, so it's at 26. So tomorrow when it goes to the next day, when it goes to 27, these are 2 signs apart, right? So we've got, so it's the whole sign of Aquarius is here. So we have Venus in a feminine sign, right? Feminine, 26 degrees Capricorn, and it would be 30 degrees here. And then we've got 30 degrees there. So that's 60 degrees. So that's feminine sign here, right? Pisces. So here we go. It's 2 signs apart. So we have, this is a nice aspect. This is interesting. Let me just show you over here. All right, we can do it this way. So here we've got this, and then we've got this. So these 2 signs here, this is 60 degrees. This is a sextile. This is nice energy. So at least we've got one nice thing. We've got Venus getting some kind of, well, when it's with, when Venus is with Saturn, it's a little bit more about, what would I say, your wants. You know, this is still in Capricorn here, so this is not moved out yet. So this is going to be like, you know, Venus is still, you know, want to make things right, want to be disciplined, want to be structured, want to put the money in the right place, want to be diligent. And then over to, you know, to Saturn, that's what it wants to do. You know, it wants to maybe make it nice for other things, put in order that is, what do you say, order that is compassionate, maybe. But then it's also, you know, it's also getting real close to making that sextile over to Neptune. So here we have the dream. Here we have a little bit of dichotomy, you know, with Venus. It's like, again, what you want, but it's there in structured Capricorn. And, you know, it's in a harmonious aspect to both Saturn and Capricorn. But it's a bit of a push-pull. It's a bit of pulling in some structure before the dream, or putting in some structure to make the dream work, or dreams so you can then put in the structure. So we can see, you know, we still have the structure, you know, reorganizing, and then the dream with this 2 before they move. They'll be together, but they're going to move from this Piscean, where it is dreamy and nebulous, into the areas where rubber hits the road. So I think this is the last bit of this dreamy time, because once these 2 planets change on February 20th, they're going to, you know, Neptune will move into Aries, and then Saturn will move into Aries, and then we got a kind of a whole new ballgame. So it's still bringing forth the dream. All right, that being said, let's get rid of that. All right, so that's one part of a lot of this, what we got going on. This is like kind of, how do I say it? It's complicated because we have 4 planets, 5, you know, all making, you know, all of these are going to, except Mars at this point now. Well, yeah, they're all going to go over Pluto. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 planets going over Pluto. So we're going to have 1, 2, right? 3. I just want to show you this because it's going to be fast, but a little bit complicated. So I'm going to try to break it down. So all of these are going to move into Aquarius first. So it's kind of, it's like a 1-2 punch. So it moves into Aquarius, and then it comes right up against Pluto. So it's like move, bump, move, bump, move, bump, move, bump. So we've got this energy going on. Okay. At the same time, a lot of this is going to make aspects to you know, both of these here before they move out, right? Because we're at 26 degrees. So they hit 27, 28, 29. And over here, this is sitting here, Uranus is sitting over there at 27 degrees too. Let me just let you take that in just a second. So all of these planets, they're going to go, when they hit 27 degrees, right? Basically, or 29, they're all going to make, first of all, Saturn, or I should say Capricorn over to Pisces is a sextile. We just said that. That's that half of a trine. It's a terrible sextile. It's a 60-degree angle. And that is half of ease and flow. It's half of a trine. It's not as lazy as a trine. A trine is lazy. It's like, it's entitled. It's nice. Love them. But they could be, you know, it's like you get handed stuff. You don't have to work for kind of it. But it gives you the ease from a lot of the other harsher aspects. So when you get a trine, really be grateful for it. But a sextile is like half of it. So it is a bit more work. It's not as many commonalities with the sextile. There's not as much in common, but it's still nice. Okay. So it gets a little bit of a reprieve there. But then also, we have all the planets here are in Earth, right? Capricorn, if I can draw it that way. Capricorn is an Earth sign. Earth. Let me just do it. Earth, just so you know, I just want you to see a couple things here. So this is Earth, and then we have Uranus in Taurus, and that is also Earth. Earth, right? Taurus is Earth. Okay, so Taurus is Earth. We've got that, and we've got Capricorn Earth. Let me just do Taurus over here. So, all right, so we have that, and then, but that's a trine energy. So we've got some interesting things here. I don't want to make it sound like it's all kind of gloomy or doomy, but it's ripe with potential. It's very potent. Okay, so here we go with all of this. So we can see we got to move into Aquarius. We got all that upsetting or innovative or exciting, however you think, energy, and then it all comes up into Pluto, and I'll get to that in just a second. But as right before it all goes into that, they are all making these nice sextiles. The last time it will make sextiles to these two in the signs, right? Because they're going to change signs, so we won't have this. This is the last time. So Venus over to these two, and then the Sun, and then Mars, and then Mercury. So we've got with let's just kind of go with well, I'll just go one by one, the easiest one. So when we get to Mercury will be your thought, speech, emotions, and speaking freely. When Mars goes over there, we're going to have impulsive emotions, feelings, not as sensitive to others. We've got the moon. Oh, we've also got the new moon coming up. So we've got, this stuff ripe. It's in action. And then over to Uranus, these are where things can just be where you didn't think of, surprising, off the wall. But it's still in a nice energy. It's still a trine. So this is where I think we can glean hope. There's a lot of like low-hanging fruit. There's a lot of good things, and I think we really need to focus on that and not let the upset and the emotionality of things get to the best of us. There's some nice energies coming around, but there's also a lot of upset. So that being said, focus more on that. But I just want to show you that there is some cool stuff in here. So all these planets are going to be making those energies one by one. So here is, you see what yesterday, I see Wednesday now, moving to Wednesday. See what else I wanted to show you. Oh, yeah, we got the moon. It moved from, we started with the moon this week in Scorpio being really intense now. Later today and then tomorrow we got the moon moving into Sag, which should lighten things up a little bit. We still got squares over to Chiron though. I don't talk a whole lot about the asteroids because there's just so much, but it's in the collective. It is about healing wounds. So as all of these planets just finished, except for Mercury. Mercury now, as it moves ahead, will make its connection to Chiron. So all of this was about looking at your wounds. Where are we wounded? Where we need to fix something without just getting, all bent out of shape about it. So Mercury's also, it's going to it just posed actually yesterday. You can see it's moving fast. So it goes from 18 to 20 degrees in a day. But it's just passing over today. It's passing over, God, I keep looking at that planet, over Jupiter. So we could have things over the top, out of control. Things just not, you could have large speech, what's the word I'm looking for here? Oh, mountains out of molehills, making things really big So it's important to keep a more balanced point of view and a more grounded point of view. So even though we can make mountains out of molehills, it's still keeping things in a grounded sense. All right, so that moves really quickly. So Wednesday, it's going to be past. Now it's passing over that. So even watch, you know, what you're saying and what you hear, and things can just kind of be over the top. Communications can be over the top, exaggerated, too far, taken too far. All right, moving on. Thursday gets to be kind of interesting because we have Venus making her double her double trine, her double sextile trine. Okay, so here Venus 27 degrees over to Saturn and then over to here. So this is kind of interesting because this is a sextile, right? And then this is a sextile over here. And then we've got the trine over here. So Saturn is right in the middle of this. Saturn is on one side making conversation with Uranus. Things can be suddenly something can come to light. Suddenly there could be some structure, or there can be, you structure something suddenly, or something becomes clear to you finally. And then on the other side, Saturn, over to Venus, that's maybe something that you like can finally be some structure or bring to light. So this is really neat. With Saturn though being in the middle, it's about you know what you got to do. You know what you got to be responsible for, and it's bringing in some of the niceties and maybe something unusual to make it happen. You've got to be inspired to bring something bigger than yourself. All right, so that's a really interesting one coming in, and then they're all going to. You can see the sun will do that. Friday, anything else? The moon moves into Capricorn. Oh, my notes. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting weekend because the moon as it's going into Capricorn, it's going to go over all of this stuff, and I think it's almost going to be like pushing your nose in dog crap. So moon going over Mercury again. It's going to be bringing light to your thoughts and feelings, and to speech and emotions, and speaking your feelings. Mercury speak feelings, and it may be speaking about serious matters, Capricorn things, structural matters. How do we get this done? How do we balance these emotions with making this work? It's serious topics about feelings. How do you feel about something? Then it's going to go over Mars. The moon will go over Mars. Let me just get it up here. It's going too fast. Anyway, moon is going over Mars. Why is it doing that? It's jumping. Okay. Anyway, it'll go over Mars, which will make it impulsive and emotional. Your feelings are not going to be maybe as sensitive. When moon, Mars, okay, remember moon is feeling, Mars is let's get her done. Let's do it. Your feelings you might be maybe sensitive to others. And what about others' feelings? And you might act without thinking. So this is, they're all bang, 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 bang. So really kind of, I guess what I'm thinking about as stuff comes up over this weekend is to really pause between the stuff. Stuff might be coming up suddenly. Uranus, right? Uranus and Venus is still here, and then the sun. Look at there it is, sun. As we moved on Saturday, now we've got the sun, Saturn in Uranus. See, they keep moving. All these planets are going to move into this position over here. But anyway, it could be because they're coming fast. You just have to. I think the first part, Friday into Saturday is going to be maybe the kind of intense because moon in Mercury. You might be willing to make the conversation, and then it might just go into over Mars, and then again you might not all of a sudden be sensitive to what other people are saying, or you might you might talk without thinking. You might just be open mouth, insert foot. Watch that, and then we're going to have the new moon, on Sunday. So moon. Oh, that's what I have it set for. That's right. So sun and moon, 28 degrees. New moon's always like a new phase. So it's like even though it's the end of Capricorn, we're at the new phase of this. So this is like putting in new structure. All of this is about putting in this new structure, new thought. I mean, using structure. Don't throw the baby, the bathtub away, with the baby, whatever that expression is. The baby out with the bathtub, with bath water. There we go. um, it's like we have to use this Saturnian energy, because when we move into Aquarius, you don't get rid of Saturn. It just changes. So it's still putting discipline, order, responsibility in the mix. It's still putting that stuff in. So I think it's new moon in Capricorn with all of this stuff could be about taking the higher road, putting in the structure, not looking for the free lunch, basically. All right. What else with that? It's also, the new moon time. It's also, um, we lack objectivity and perspective because we don't have the light. So that's interesting to note. What else happens here? What else I'm going to tell you about? Oh, this degree. It's like what new solid responsible thing can we commit to, basically, with this moon. All right, what else is going on? Then let's see. With the sun squaring Saturn, we just talked about that. It's taking responsibility, improving yourself. The sun trining over to Neptune, opportunities for intuition and artistic expression. And then Mars trining over to Saturn is like using your energy in a self-disciplined way, and using your energy to create more structure and more energy. And then the Sunday, let's see. Oh, Venus then moves. Oops, we've got so much going on. It's okay. So Saturday, Venus moves into Aquarius. So here's the first day of that. So Venus into Aquarius. So we have that happening, and then as it moves on, then here's the new moon, and then Venus gets real close to Pluto. So then the next day, there's Venus right on top of Pluto. So now we've got drama in relationships. We've got depth in relationships. We've got you could be consumed by passion. You could be disappointed if others don't soar to your heights and plummet with you. If people don't want to, soaring is great, but then plummeting to your depths, people might not want to do that. And that's kind of what this Venus into Aquarius and next to Pluto is all about. It's also loyalty to fight for what you think is injustice. And we're starting to see that already. But here again, it's going to just go off the rails unless you've got some structure, and unless you're thinking you're going to come make that out to be a fool, kind of an energy. Mars trining, Mars right there is trining over to Uranus and doing its sextile over to Saturn. So Mars sextile Saturn, putting structure and energy into opportunities to express yourself in a disciplined way, putting your talents together. And then Saturn, over to Uranus, we've got bringing new ideas into old structures, adding new ways into new organizations, new talent of things, new fresh ideas. And again, these are the last ones in these signs. These are all going to change really quick. So this is the last of this. Then let's see, as we're finishing up, let's see, Monday, or is there anything else I want to tell you about Monday? No, but Tuesday, yeah, I said that already. Monday, we've got the sun now. After the new moon, it moves into Aquarius. And then it's going to bump up against Pluto. And then also Mercury together with the sun. They both move into Aquarius together. So this is, we'll be back here next week on this. Let's see, did we go through all those oppositions? Yeah, we did all that, and we did all those. I think I told you about everything else here. Yeah, catch you up till next week. So all of this stuff, look at, by next week, we're going to be, here's next Tuesday. Look, all of this is gone. I mean, it's like we have one more planet, Mars, holding out. But in 1 week, let's just look. This is so crazy. How 1 week. Here we are today. Look, the moon is back here, but it's like all of this here, the last of this structure, the last of this feminine energy of all these planets here in Capricorn 1 week. Boom, look at that. Only one left. Even the moon, of course, too, but like, and then let's just go how many more days when that is. 1, 2, Friday. A week from this Friday, Mars will be there and it will have it all again. Look at this. So this is going to be a different world in about another week. All right, that was a lot. This is a big time. This is kind of, we're getting really close to this, this alignment here. When Saturn and Neptune meet at the world point at 1 degree or at 0 degrees Aries, then Mercury's going to go retrograde. So we've got a very, very volatile, interesting time. It's important to put out the best, highest intentions, um, thoughts of love around our planet, holding our planet in our arms. There's a lot of people being misled deliberately. There's a lot of evil, putting big money into organizations to sway people. And, it's hard to reach all of that. So, in your quiet moments, embracing the whole planet, putting love around that, helping those that can't see. Even, there's parts of all of our lives that we can't see things, that we've been blinded, and we get blindsided. We get swayed by emotions. So it's really important to just, I think, take a couple deep breaths, count to 4, maybe before responding to something. So big week ahead, big month, actually. So stay safe. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.